Today I will tell you how to uproot and move adult trees to a new location, specifically an apple tree. We have an apple tree. Here it is. It's already about 4 years old. It has rooted well, big branches have grown, and it has been bearing fruit for about 3 years now. It's a good tree. The apples are falling, but there's a problem. The nearby cherry tree's branches are pressing against the apple tree. The cherry tree will keep growing, so the apple tree is in the shade because the cherry tree blocks the sunlight. On the other side, there's a pear tree that will also grow soon and overshadow the apple tree, so we shouldn't wait for the apple tree to grow larger. The plant will grow, and the apple tree is shaded by the cherry tree. Pear tree will soon overshadow it, so we need to transplant the apple tree to a new location to ensure it can still produce a small harvest next year. We'll need a saw, pruning shears, and gloves for protection. And on the other side, there is a pear tree, which will also grow very soon and completely crush the apple tree. So let's not wait until the apple tree grows even more. We'll try to transplant it to a new location with minimal losses so that it can still delight us with a small harvest next year, even if it's not a lot. To properly uproot and transplant it, we'll need a fine-toothed saw, regular pruning shears, and gloves to protect our hands from getting hurt by the saw or branches. For this, we first need to trim the top part of the crown. It's very tall, so we'll be transporting it to another site by car, which is why we need to remove as many unnecessary branches as possible that won't fit in the vehicle. To achieve this, our initial task is to carefully trim the top part of the crown. This step is vital, as it ensures a precise fit, which is crucial, for it is very tall, so we will be transporting it to another site by car. So it is necessary to remove as many extra branches as possible that will not fit in the car. And after that, we'll start digging around the tree's crown. It's already December outside, and while it's still warm, you can see that the trees have shed their leaves, but the grass is still green. This is the best time to transplant the tree because it's dormant. It has dropped its leaves, and transplanting will harm it the least. First, let's take a saw and carefully cut off the largest branches that will potentially get in our way. It's absolutely best to make the cut without any jagged edges or to avoid any unnecessary additional infections. We will prune the side branches at the upper bud level. This encourages outward growth, leading to a fuller plant. This method ensures the plant gets enough sunlight and air, which are vital for its health.
This is how it turned out for us.
It's best to leave as many branches as you can, as possible. It is also necessary to remove young fat pads, sails, which are located at the bottom of the tree and grow inward. This process is meticulously carried out during every single type of pruning activity, ensuring that each method, whether it be for trees, shrubs, or any other plant species, is executed with precision and care. The goal is to maintain the health and aesthetics of the plant, which is why this step is crucial in all pruning practices. Using pruning shears, you need to carefully and meticulously remove small branches that could potentially break during transport. This is crucial to ensure the tree's health and stability. By leaving a minimum number of branches, you allow the tree to root well and not draw extra sap from the remaining branches, which is essential for its growth and survival. At this stage, the tree is ready to start the process of digging around the roots. This involves gently loosening the soil and ensuring that the roots are not damaged, which is a critical step before proceeding with its transplanting. Now, taking a spade, we start digging very carefully around the entire tree's crown in a circle, such as to ensure that the process is done properly and efficiently. To do this, you need to step back about 70-80 centimeters, depending on the size of the tree, and start digging. First mark the area and then start digging about 2 spade lengths deep. Let's get started. After digging about 1.5 feet with the shovel, you can see that there are small roots, which are delicate and should ideally be left undamaged, as well as larger roots, which are more robust and need to be cut with a shovel or an axe from the inside. When digging, it is important to be cautious and gentle to avoid damaging the small roots, which play a crucial role in the plant's health. The larger roots, however, are more resilient and can be cut with the appropriate tools. So that you can dig deeper, it's important to understand the challenges you might face. Roots, which can be quite tough and resilient, need to be cut with an axe if you can't do it with a shovel. This is because they are often thick and deeply embedded in the soil, making them difficult to remove with just a shovel. At a depth of 2 shovel lengths, which is quite significant, earthworms are hibernating, curled up in little balls. These earthworms, during the colder months, enter a state of dormancy to conserve energy and survive the harsh conditions. Now we will know where they are located. There are 2 methods for transplanting large trees. This is with a root ball and without one. You can transplant trees with a root ball if you have a good vehicle and a lifting mechanism that can get the root ball out of the ground. But in our case, a passenger car won't fit a large root ball, and we don't have the strength to lift the root ball out of the ground. So we will use the method of transplanting the tree without a root ball. We've already dug around the perimeter of the tree. We trimmed off the excess roots that were going sideways and were in the way of pulling it out. In general, the depth of the main roots is between 50 to 70 centimeters. We've already dug around this distance. Now we need to carefully try to loosen the tree and gently lay it on one side to prevent any damage. We start the process of loosening it from one side using appropriate tools and techniques to ensure safety and effectiveness. This method helps in maintaining the tree's stability and structure while we work. It's very important to very carefully extract the tree as gently as possible to ensure minimal damage to the small roots. The more of them that remain, the better the chances that the tree will survive well and maximize the survival chances of the tree in the long run. And here you can see the root. Now let us carefully take the wheelbarrow and gently transport the tree to the car. During transportation, it's important that these small roots don't get damaged and that the soil between them doesn't fall out. Now we need to fill in the hole that was created when we uprooted our tree. For this, we take a shovel and start shoveling, making sure that the top layer of soil is on top and the bottom layer is at the bottom, so we don't mess it up on the way. In this condition, we transport the tree in the trunk to the new location. Well, here we are at the new location. We arrived safely. Now our task is to plant this tree correctly so that it yields well and roots properly. We need 2 buckets of well-rotted cow manure, which won't burn roots like chicken manure. Also, a shovel and the desire to plant the tree. In a chosen spot, dig a hole similar to the previous one, about 2 shovel depths. Mix the dug soil with manure evenly. Place the tree in the hole and cover it with the mixture. In a predetermined spot, we dig a hole just like the one at the previous location, a little smaller, about 2 shovel depths deep. After that, we mix the soil. We dig out with the well-rotted manure until it's evenly distributed throughout the thickness. Then, we need to place the tree in the hole and cover it with the resulting mixture. Well, the hole is dug. After that, it's necessary to place the tree in the hole and cover it with the resulting mixture. Well, the hole is dug. There's a lot of wine down here. The soil is poor, so it needs to be well fertilized. When planting a tree, place the fertile upper soil layers at the roots and the clay part on top. This ensures the plant's roots won't absorb the clay. And the upper clay part, which is visible above it, must be raised up, because there, it won't be absorbed by the plant's roots.
Now let's carefully fertilize the soil evenly.
The top layer will be clay soil, but we will also fertilize it to at least somewhat compensate for the lack of nutrients. We pour water very carefully and extremely slowly to thoroughly and completely remove the air pockets from the root system. If the water spills over from the container or designated area, it's absolutely necessary to create a sturdy and effective barrier so that it doesn't run off and cause any potential damage or flooding. 2 cores, which are essentially the central parts of the system, are quite enough for the soil to be well soaked in the root system, ensuring that the plants receive adequate moisture and nutrients for healthy growth. After the water is absorbed, it's necessary to add more soil again, and during the summer, it's best to water every 10 days to help the roots recover after we've damaged them. And this tree will already bear its first harvest next summer, and in 2 years, it will catch up to the size it was at the time of uprooting. You watched a video on how to transplant a mature tree, specifically an apple tree. It's all very simple and straightforward if you put in the effort and do everything thoughtfully.